Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Breaking the Rules. I'm Casey Dempster, and with me is my co-host, Ray Lowe. And our show, Breaking the Rules, is about change. And change is something that we all have to deal with in our lives. Some of us are more comfortable with it than others. And I think that what we're trying to get across is that if you take control of the change as much as you can, that sometimes that makes it a lot more comfortable and more effective. So I have a quote today from Maya Angelou, and she says, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. And I think that that's really a good perspective, so that what she's saying is just what I said. If you take control of the change, then it will go better for you. And I have a second quote, just because I was going crazy yesterday. And this quote has a little bit more to do with the theme of our show today. And this quote is from, of all people, Bill Murray from Saturday Night Live and Caddyshack and all those other wonderful things he does. He says, somewhere there's a score being kept. So you have an obligation to live life as well as you can and be as engaged as you can. And that's something that the luckiest guy in the world is always talking about, is that we need to stay engaged even after we, quote, retire. So I'm going to throw this now to Ray Lowe, the luckiest guy in the world, and let him talk about that.
I'm glad you got two quotes in today, okay?
I can't help myself.
Well, this luckiest guy in the world is really important, and because it's about feeling and how you feel and how you're going to grasp life and enjoy it. And I've been a very lucky person that I've been able to do this, and a lot of it deals with redesigning your life to do what you want, and based on who you are and your strengths and your passions and everything else. And we're looking forward to being able to teach other people how to do that. And I think our guest today is also one of the luckiest guys in the world, although I'm going to be reluctant to release my title here, okay?
There's room for more.
But I've known Jim Spotila for lots of years. And we're going to talk specifically about one of his projects today, where he twisted my arm long ago, but we'll come back to that in a minute. So Dr. Jim, give us a quick background of who you are and what you do in real life when you're not playing with the sea turtles.
Sure. Well, I have a quote.
Oh.
I have a quote from my mother, who said, make things cleaner than you found them, or make the world better than you found it. And that's sort of been my motto. And in real life, my day job is professor. I'm the Betts Chair Professor of Environmental Science at Drexel University. So what that means is that Mr. Betts, when he passed away, gave a big piece of money to Drexel University to endow a professorship, so a professor could study environmental science and do research and teaching. So that's what I do in my day job. That's what pays me.
Okay.
And then some years ago, I got involved studying sea turtles to do science, and then somehow got snookered into conserving sea turtles. And so now I save and study sea turtles.
Okay, so, you know, we've had a discussion on sea turtles for years and years and years. And I remember I didn't want to get involved in this at all. And I fought you for years about this. And we had these discussions about how magnificent these animals were and why it was so important to get involved with them. And I said, okay, so what? And then you made me.
Right. I forced you.
You forced me to take this trip to Costa Rica. And you were smart about it because you introduced the country first and you saved the best for last. So I remember we got in a van, and there were a few of us, and we started at San Jose, and we went on to see the volcanoes, Arenal volcano. And I remember sitting in this spa, this magnificent natural spa, with tons of hot water coming out from under this volcano, pouring over my body. And this was like heaven, okay? And then we went and we looked at coffee, and we went up to the mountains, and then you saved the best for last. We wound up in Guanacaste, am I right?
That's right.
On the West Coast.
The West Coast.
On a beach. And it's still my trauma still wasn't over because the beach was magnificent. And then you said, okay, we're going to get some rest because we're going to get up at 9 o'clock at night and we're going to go out on this beach with fleas and sand fleas and bugs all over and stuff like that, and we're going to look for turtle tracks, right?
Right.
So I thought I was on a snipe hunt from college again, okay, and then all of a sudden you see these turtle tracks, and it's like a Sherman tank went up the beach.
I think they're on the
Okay.
monitor now.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
And,
That's
and
great.
there they are,
Yeah.
okay? And then you finally see this turtle, and I just couldn't believe my eyes. I mean, it was spectacular. 5 feet long, roughly,
Right?
2,500 pounds, give or take
Yeah,
a little
give or
bit.
take, sure.
Okay, and laying eggs. So now I understand how you got into this, and I became a believer and a supporter of your project after that. So all of these listeners that we have that haven't been to Costa Rica, you got to do this. This is part of it. It's part of a mind-expanding, life-expanding process. So tell us a little bit about turtles. You got into this a long time ago. And why are turtles important? Why did you study this in the beginning?
Well, I always wanted to, when you're a biologist, a student, you want to study dolphins, whales. Sea turtles are an exotic animal that you'll never get to study. So I was a professor at that time at Buffalo State College in 1978, and there was a faculty meeting, some kind of, space, personnel, curriculum. So you always have these meetings. And there was a seminar over at the medical school by Henry Prang from Indiana University. Dr. Prang was an expert on sea turtles. He's going to talk about the physiology of green sea turtles. So I skipped the faculty meeting, which is one of the best things you could do. Whenever you can skip a meeting is a good thing. So I went to the seminar, and he gave this seminar all about sea turtles, and he's going on an expedition to Costa Rica in the Alpha Helix. This is the biggest, most important National Science Foundation boat to study physiology of animals. But unfortunately, they couldn't do any kind of telemetry, radio or sonic, to follow the turtles in the water. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work in salt water. So during the coffee afterwards, I went up to him, introduced myself, and said, well, I can do that. He said, oh, really? Well, why don't you come on the expedition? So this is getting even better. So fine, and he says, write me a couple pages, we'll put you in the grant, and you can go and study sea turtles. Oh, this is great. So I just got invited to go to Costa Rica. So I go home, and the first thing I do is I call my graduate student at the University of Georgia, Ed Standora, who is the guy who can make the radio transmitters and sonic transmitters, because you can't buy them. Now you buy them off the shelf. There are companies that make them, but in 1978, the best ones you made yourself. Ed could make them. I couldn't do that. So I said, hey, Ed, you want to go to Costa Rica and study sea turtles? Oh, yeah, Jim, what do I have to do? I said, no big deal. Make me some transmitters. So that's how we got started.
So anything to get on a beach, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
At night.
At night.
Not in the daytime.
Okay.
That's right.
So you started this back in the late 70s, early 80s,
Mm-hmm.
and this then became a project of studying what was happening to turtles. So I think the measurement here was how many were coming into nest and how many eggs.
The point was that this was a one-off. Go to Costa Rica, study the physiology of the turtles, come home and, be famous, write
Do a
a
book
paper.
report.
And do a book report, and that's it. Well, then, because that worked so well, we got invited to go back and study the eggs of turtles to look at their sex determination, because they don't have sex chromosomes. So we did that study in 1980, and then my former student, Frank Palladino, said, oh, he's going on sabbatical. He gets a semester, a year off from Indiana, Purdue University. Let's go study leatherback turtles, 1989. So then we go to Costa Rica to study leatherback turtles. Then we meet Mario Boza, the vice minister. He says, oh, come on over to Playa Grande on the Pacific coast. I want to make a park there, but I need scientists. You guys could do the science. So we started doing the science, and then eventually the conservation, and we've been there ever since.
Okay, now this is a magnificent project, if I understand this right, because it started with some scientists on the beach
Right.
studying the eggs.
Correct.
And looking at the population of turtles that were coming into nest. And then one of the things that I think happened is all of a sudden population of turtles started to diminish.
Yeah, that happened about the time we got midway through the project. The population started declining.
And why? Why did that happen?
Well, there are two reasons. One reason was that people had been taking the eggs, poaching eggs, taking all the eggs off the beach for 20, 30 years, the local people.
Okay.
And therefore, there were no new adult turtles to come back, and the old turtles die. And that was the first main reason. The second reason was that turtles are getting caught in the ocean by fishermen, either big nets, what they call drift nets, or long lines, hooks, hundreds of hooks, thousands of hooks in the ocean, and drowning or being taken to be eaten or something like that.
So why are these turtles important? I mean, you know, these are, you know, when I saw the size of these things, I mean, I started thinking of dinosaurs.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, they've been around since dinosaurs.
Since dinosaurs. And why are we supposed to be concerned about a diminishing population here? I mean, you know, you look at the grand scheme of all the things that go on in life, and we have turtles.
Yeah.
And yet it's important. So why?
Right. Why should it be important? One reason, look at my cool picture here.
Okay.
You can put it to the camera there.
Ta-da, leatherback turtle, and it eats jellyfish.
Okay.
All right. See that? See all the jellyfish?
Okay.
Well, if there are no turtles, there are too many jellyfish, then you're a swimmer and you don't like jellyfish.
That's correct.
So that's one little reason.
Okay.
Another, they do something in the ocean. They play an important role in keeping the ocean operating correctly. So that's useful to us. But I think more importantly is a leatherback turtle, and any animal, whether it's a bear or a turtle or a panda, has a right to exist just like a person does. And we don't have the right to make it go away.
I think we have to take a break here, but I know there's a lot more important things to talk about. So don't go away, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Choosing Medicare coverage can be a very confusing and complicated process. Help is just a phone call away, 856-226-4800. As a licensed insurance agent, I'll assist you in making an informed and confident decision on a Medicare plan that meets your needs, lifestyle, and budget. Call me today for a free, no obligation Medicare benefits consultation, 856-226-4800.
When did you see the sign?
When I needed to create a better visitor experience.
Improve our workflow.
Attract new customers. That's when Fast Signs recommended Fleet Graphics.
Yeah, now business is rolling in. Get started at fastsigns.com.
What do I want to be when I grow up? Maybe a musician? A veterinarian? Maybe an equestrian? A mommy? Well, why not be all these things and more? Consider joining me, Dr. V, with friends and colleagues as we explore a wide range of topics together. V is for variety, here on RVN TV.
There you go, Richard. Oh! Is that too hard for you?
No. Is it too hard for you?
Woo! We're playing catch now. Oh, shit.
Why should you choose Rowan College at Gloucester County? Low cost. The #1 nursing program in all of New Jersey. More than 70 programs of study, including selective admissions. With record enrollment. A premier partnership with Rowan University. Transfer options with numerous universities. 4-year degree options on our campus. Rowan College at Gloucester County. Now you're thinking.
Welcome back, everybody. I was just told no more quotes, so you're safe. Welcome back. We are here with Dr. Jim Spotila and my co-host Ray Lowe, and we're talking about the leatherback turtles and the importance to the environment, and we've got some great stories, so take it away.
Well, there are a couple of things I want to make sure we cover because they're just so unique. So what started as a science project morphed into something more, didn't it?
It did. Got out of control.
Well, okay, so as a result of this, we have a national park in Costa Rica that wasn't there when you were first
We
there.
basically helped form a national park.
Okay, and as part of it, one of the issues I remember is we had building on land and turtles wouldn't come in to nest because they saw lights.
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
So we had to do some things to kind of prevent that, right?
Yeah, right.
So what happened is we raised some money to buy a strip on the beach.
You're telling my
right?
story.
Okay, so take over.
So we start studying the turtles. The Vice Minister, Mario Bosa, says, come and work there. Political changes happen, and the park is declared by presidential decree. The next president comes and decides he wants to undecree it. We've heard that before. So what we did is we got President Clinton, who was a friend of ours and my brother's, to send a note down to the president of Costa Rica that he liked leatherback turtles and they should make this a park. So they passed a law in 1995 making this a park. But being appropriate, the Congress of Costa Rica didn't appropriate the money to buy the beach. So therefore, people started, I want to build my house on the beach. Well, you can't build your house on the beach. It's a park. Well, you got to pay me. So then we went out and raised $5 million from donors to pay for the acquisition of the land so that the land would stay dark. And so we got John Grisham, who I'm not supposed to tell people that his foundation at that time gave us a lot of money. It was matched by the Moore Foundation. They each wanted a match. I matched them together. And we put in millions and millions of dollars to buy up the land on the beach. So the beach is still dark. The turtles still come up. And we still have an attorney in Costa Rica who files lawsuits against anybody who tries to break the law.
Okay.
And we found out all kinds of interesting things about land ownership and all that. So we do the legal part. We do the science is still being done. We have volunteers through the Earthwatch Institute who come down, retired people, for example, school teachers, who go down and work on the beach as volunteers, just like you did, to walk out every night and count the turtles and count the eggs and protect the eggs. And then we have an outreach coordinator for the Leatherback Trust who works in the local schools and the local community. We hired the poachers to become guides to take people out. So now the economy's changed in the local village, so they make money by tourism, not by digging up eggs. So we basically changed the paradigm from fighting poachers to those people love the turtles and love us, and we built up the economy based on turtle tourism. And so now the turtles are protected. The local people have cleaner jobs. They don't have to dig in the dirt and the sand. The school kids go down and see the turtles. There's a turtle festival every year, and we still need lots and lots of money because there's always something to do.
All from a scientist on the beach.
All from a scientist on the beach from skipping that committee meeting.
Okay, so there's another element in here because you bring classes of school kids from the U.S. down, right?
We bring grade school kids, high school kids, and college kids down.
Okay.
So I've had a relationship with the Bullis School in California. It's a school in Los Altos. and they bring their 6th grade class down every February, and I take them the same way you did to see the volcano, to see the beach, to see the turtles. And it's an incredible experience for me to be riding a school bus with 66 graders, which reminds me why I teach university and not grade school.
But the other thing I remember was you had something a few years ago called the Great Turtle Race.
Oh, the Great Turtle Race, that was a great deal.
Yeah.
What we did is we put on the internet the Great Turtle Race. So we put satellite transmitters on turtles to see where they go and what they do. And then 20 or 50 other scientists look at that, and we all talk about it. Now we understand the turtles. But what we did instead was we were able to put together a coalition of people and companies to sponsor the Great Turtle Race. And we put on the internet the movements of a year and a half, 2 years of turtle movement compressed to 2 weeks, and we called it a race. And so we had Stephanie Colberto, the turtle, Stephen Colbert's show, came in second. Didn't want her to
He's
win.
doing better now.
Yeah, but look how that stepped him up.
Yes, indeed.
See, and we had named after different companies had them, and schools had them, and that sort of thing. And so for 2 weeks, we had this thing, and he put it on his show, and we had 250,000 or 2 million hits on this show. So we educated lots of people and raised about $250,000 from that to use for conservation.
That's great.
Okay, so where is this all going to go? Where do we want to take this? Because we've got an education, we've got all of these pieces, and what are you thinking about doing here?
Well, what we want to do is use this as a lesson in sustainability. That's a big talk now, is sustainability. While we're studying the turtles, we found out that the changing climate, warming climate, is affecting the success of the eggs to hatch. There are lots of problems. Whether the turtles come back and lay eggs or not depends on ocean conditions. So all of these different factors are playing into it. So we're trying to figure out how best to save the turtles, but also to develop our community effort into a sustainability effort for Costa Rica. How do you do a sustainable economy, and how do you do a sustainable ecosystem so that you still have something left in 50 years? So that's what we're aiming at now.
You know, one of the things that amazes me when I think back at it, it didn't all come out at one time, but you know, the other thing, you've done some magnificent things with the local population. You mentioned the guards before.
Right.
So these were people that were poaching the eggs not too many years ago.
Correct.
And now you're actually paying them so that they have jobs. Okay.
So the children that we worked with in 1995 and 2000 in the grade school of Mount Apollo are now the adults who are leading the Guides Association.
Wow.
And now we're working with their kids in the schools. And the big difference was that sometimes people will come and do a year or two and then they go away. Well, we haven't gone away. And so although we're foreigners, we're part of the community. And so Frank Palladino and I, and our students and the next generation, the Brian Wallaces and the B.B. Santandrians, they still go down there. So we have basically become part of the Costa Rica family. And as a result, we're not outsiders anymore. And so that works much better. And the leadership is from Mario Bosa, Elizabeth Solano in Costa Rica. We basically stand behind them, and they are the ones conserving. Because you wouldn't want a Costa Rican coming here to New Jersey telling you what to do.
Yeah.
And they don't want foreigners coming to tell you what to do.
So you got to bite your lip and do all of this stuff and make it happen for other people.
Right, exactly.
Now, the other thing that I see out of this is, so how many graduate students have you taken and exposed to this kind of adventure?
Oh, probably 50-ish. I've had about 95 graduate students, and probably more than half of them have worked on the turtle project.
Okay, so we got the local people, we've got people in America, and some of your graduate students have gone on to other projects,
Sure,
right? And
absolutely.
they're doing interesting things.
They're working in Africa, they're working all over Australia, they're working all over the world, so it's a compounding sort of empire.
Okay. Now, one of the things that Sandy, my wife was a superintendent of schools, and you know, one of the things we lament periodically is that there's no passion in education anymore, trying to get kids excited about things. And I think that's another thing you've achieved here. So what kind of feedback have you gotten from this Bullet School?
We've had the students they've been coming since 2004, so now they're out, that group's out beyond college. And they're writing essays to get into their best colleges, universities, saying, this experience was life-changing. The parents of these children think it's the best thing that's ever happened. Their child came back changed, and all this sort of, so it's had a big impact, not just saving the turtles, which is important, but saving people as well, changing people's lives, giving them a different view. All of that feeds together.
Okay.
That's what we try and do.
Okay, so we have an ongoing project. It's been going on for a long, long time.
Right.
So it's something that's worth supporting. And if people want to support this project, you have a website that they can go to get a whole lot of information, right?
Right.
And we have that up here
Leatherback
somewhere.
Trust, yep.
Okay.
But it's leatherback.org.
Leatherback.org. Leatherback.org
Yeah.
is the website.
Yeah.
And I think there's just so much to do, and what's interesting is when you have such a successful project across the whole board, that's probably the biggest thing that got me excited about this thing and interested in it. And so there's opportunities here for older people to get involved. Costa Rica is a great place to go.
Yeah.
Do you have any closing comments that you want to make over here?
Well, I think anybody who wants to help out, let us know. We'll be glad to have you play a role. I mean, whether it's supporting us, monetarily always is helpful. It keeps the wheels turning. But going down to volunteer, helping out, maybe giving assistance in some way, getting involved either here in the States, we do all.
Okay, and you start by Leatherback.org.
Leatherback.org.
Great. Well, Jim, thanks for being here.
Sure,
and
my
Casey,
pleasure.
what's happening next week?
Next week, we have a really interesting guest coming. Her name is Emily Morgan, and she's a young entrepreneur who left the corporate world to start her own business. She's got some great stories and interesting perspectives to give us. So tune in next week at 10 o'clock on Tuesday for Breaking the Rules. And we'll thank Jim and go save some sea turtles.
Save a turtle.
That's the new quote, right?
That's right. Save a turtle.
Thank you.
Choosing Medicare coverage can be a very confusing and complicated process. Help is just a phone call away, 856-226-4800. As a licensed insurance agent, I'll assist you in making an informed and confident decision on a Medicare plan that meets your needs, lifestyle, and budget. Call me today for a free, no-obligation Medicare benefits consultation, 856-226-4800.
When did you see the sign?
When I needed to create a better visitor experience.